Hey everyone, this is Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly with the Samsung DROID Charge. I'm going to do a review of the DROID Charge today, and I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet, so I hope you can keep up with me. Anyway, the Samsung DROID Charge is the first phone from Samsung to be marketed as one of the Droid line on Verizon. So it's the first Samsung phone to be called a Droid on the Verizon network, and it's the second phone from Verizon that is a 4G phone. Of course, the first one is the HTC Thunderbolt. So the Samsung DROID Charge can take advantage of Verizon's very high-speed LTE 4G network. Now, the LTE network from Verizon is not in every city, but it's being built out very rapidly, and the DROID Charge can get some pretty rapid download speeds. Now, I personally have tested this phone and gotten speeds as high as 9 megabits per second. I think that's a pretty darn good speed. I think if I continue testing, I would maybe get some speeds in the low teens, but if I could get 9 megabits, heck, if I could get half that, if I could get 4.5 all the time, I would be absolutely ecstatic with the download speed on my cell phone. And you can get those kind of speeds here with the Samsung DROID Charge. Okay, as I said, we're going to move through this quickly. Of course, one of the big features about the Samsung DROID Charge, in addition to it being a 4G LTE phone, is it has a big 4.3-inch Super AMOLED Plus screen. Now, of course, the Samsung Galaxy S phones have had that beautiful Super AMOLED screen for some time. This is a Super AMOLED Plus screen, so Samsung is saying it's a little bit better than the Super AMOLED screens that the company made so famous. The resolution here is 480 by 800 pixels. There are higher resolution phones out there, but that resolution looks beautiful on this screen on the Samsung DROID Charge. Okay, it has a 1 gigahertz processor and 512 megabytes of built-in RAM. That's the sort of RAM that the processor can access. As far as storage is concerned, the big thing here is it's got 2 gigabytes of onboard built-in storage, and it comes pre-installed with a 32 gigabyte microSD card. Underneath the back cover is a 1600 milliamp hour battery. There you go. And you'll see that there is a SIM card. I mentioned that this uses Verizon's LTE high-speed network. The high-speed network on Verizon, the LTE network, requires the use of a SIM card. Now, this SIM card is not compatible with the SIMs that are used by GSM carriers in the US or anywhere else in the world for that matter. So you cannot pop an AT&T or a T-Mobile SIM in here. It simply won't work. The LTE technology is completely different from the GSM technology that those other carriers use. This will only work with an LTE SIM. Over here is the microSD card. As I said, it comes pre-installed with a 32 gigabyte microSD card. That's at least a $50 item all by itself. And the back cover is very thin and lightweight, pops on easily. You can tell there's a camera here. The camera is an 8 megapixel still image camera with a single LED flash. And the DROID Charge runs Android 2.2. And one other point I want to make, as far as I can tell, the graphics components of this phone are very similar to Samsung's well-regarded Galaxy S class of phones. So not only does it have the Super AMOLED screen, but it has the graphics processor unit that made using those phones such a smooth and pleasing operation. They really seem to work very well. Okay, so I took some pictures with this phone. Here's the camera here. And now I didn't mention the camera. I did mention the rear camera, but there's also a front camera. There's the front camera right there. The rear camera, all you need to do is tap and it'll focus like that, and then touch this over here and it'll take the picture. So it works very well. Of course, it has the flash that I mentioned. If you want to change to the front camera, you need to go into the settings and rotate to the front camera, and now we are on the front camera. Hi everybody, that's me on the front camera. Okay, I'm going to switch back, and of course here you can switch between the still image camera and the video camera. So okay, I took some pictures with the Samsung DROID Charge. So let's go ahead and take a look at those pictures right now. First, I like to set up a little still life on my desk, one floor above me as I'm speaking right now. And I thought it did a pretty good job of getting the colors right. Now I had to knock the exposure down slightly. It was very easy to do, but when I first turned it on, it made my countertop look almost white, and it definitely isn't white. It's some kind of faux wood grain. So I backed the exposure off slightly to get that color more accurate. And then I moved in a little closer and took a closer up shot, and I thought it did a very nice job on the focus. I thought the noise level was quite reasonable. So for a cell phone camera, this is one of the better cell phone cameras that I've tried. My next photo here was to check out the flesh tones with my co-workers Luis and Jen. That's Luis on the left and Jen on the right, if you couldn't figure it out. Now, I had the flash going here. It definitely lit their faces well, but it put kind of a bluish sort of cast on them. So, you know, overall not the greatest. Again, though, the focus was very good. Then I took the camera outside to shoot a little video. So let's take a look at that video right now. This is a test of the Samsung DROID Charge camera. I'm running it at 720p video. That's the Wirefly building there in the background, and it's a beautiful spring day with blue sky, and the sky is peppered with fluffy white clouds. Leaves are out on trees. There is quite a bit of breeze, and that's probably making the noise rather growly. So this is what the camera looks like outside on a sunny spring day. Okay, the video I thought was nice and clear. I thought that the contrast was just a little bit soft, but overall, again, that is one of the better cell phone videos. It's 720p video, and that's one of the better cell phone videos that I've seen. Now, when I was standing outside, I was in the bright sun when I shot that, and the sun was at my back. So in other words, it was shining on the screen, and I could see the screen. Of course, in the bright sun, the screen is not nearly as visible as it is indoors, but I still could see the screen to shoot what I was shooting and to see what I was pointing at. Okay, the next step in the video here, this review is to run Quadrant and Smart Bench. I'm going to start off with Quadrant. Now I'm going to go ahead and run it, and I'm going to come back once the video, once the test is ended. This is the last of the 3D graphics tests in the Quadrant suite of tests. I definitely want to get the results. And here, as you can see, it's very tiny print. It got a score of 992. That's actually pretty good. Now, when the Galaxy S phones from Samsung, when they were updated from Android 2.1 to Android 2.3, they started getting quadrant scores in the upper 900s, mid to upper 900s. So this is kind of typical, a little bit better than the Galaxy S phones, but kind of in the same ballpark. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with a quadrant score of 992. That is a pretty fast phone. Okay, let's go back. Now I want to run Smart Bench, the other test app that I like to run, and we shall see with Smart Bench. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come back when the test is ready to wrap up, and we'll deal with the results then. This is the last of the tests in the Smart Bench suite of tests. That's called the Jellyfish test. It's going to ask if I want the results, and of course I want the results. Why would I run the test if I didn't want the results? Seems rather foolish. Sometimes Smart Bench can take a while to actually deliver the scores, so I'm hoping it won't take that long. And there we have the scores. Now, Smart Bench breaks its scores up into two different indexes. The first one, the green one, is called the Productivity Index, and the DROID Charge got 836 in productivity. But take a look at the other index, which is called the Games Index. It got 2052. That's 2052. So the built-in graphics processor in the DROID Charge does a wonderful job of making sure that anything to do with the display happens smoothly and quickly. And that's why it has a game score that's more than twice what the productivity score is. Now, productivity score of 836 is nothing special. A lot of phones can do that. But when you're using a phone, when you're scrolling back and forth and opening and closing things, that has a lot to do with the graphical capabilities of the phone, and the games index comes into play there. So I have to say that the Samsung DROID Charge feels like a very nice, smooth phone. Now let's go back to the home page and take a look at that. It scrolls from side to side very nicely. As you can see, it has Samsung's TouchWiz interface, has these TouchWiz widgets on the screen. I enjoy having those so that it tells me what's going on in my world. I set those up, very easy to set up, and everything on this works very well. The applications go from side to side, and they scroll page by page, which is not my favorite way. I'd rather it stop where I want it to stop, but it snaps from page to page. Okay, I can live with that. I want to compare the DROID Charge with a couple of its stablemates on Verizon. This is the HTC Thunderbolt, the very first 4G phone, and as you can see, these two phones have just about the same footprint. Let me turn it sideways so we can see a little bit better here. So the Thunderbolt is actually just a little bit longer, excuse me, the Thunderbolt's a little bit shorter than the DROID Charge. That's the DROID Charge sticking out right there. So the DROID Charge is a little bit longer than the Thunderbolt, but it is a fair amount thinner if we take a look at the two. So the DROID Charge is a little bit thinner than the Thunderbolt. Let's see if I can get them lined up. You can definitely see when they're both sitting on a tabletop. So the DROID Charge is thinner than the Thunderbolt. Now that's a 4.3-inch screen on the Thunderbolt, so that's how two 4.3-inch screen phones stack up. Now here is the Samsung Fascinate. This is a Samsung Galaxy S phone that's on Verizon, and it is just about the same length as the DROID Charge. Again, I'll turn them sideways so you can see a little bit more easily. And so it's just about the same length as the DROID Charge. You had a little bit extra bit sticking out here. It's just slightly narrower than the DROID Charge. Of course, the Samsung Fascinate is much thinner. It's one of the thinnest Android phones that you can find. It's very sleek. So that is a look at the Samsung DROID Charge. This is a very nice phone. I've enjoyed using it. It will carry easily in your pocket. It's not quite as heavy as you think it might be. And I like the fact that it does have a hotspot capability. You can set this up to do a Wi-Fi hotspot. Of course, it does the 4G service from Verizon, the LTE service, so it's very fast. And I love the beautiful Super AMOLED screen. Colors snap right off the screen. The contrast is excellent. The off-axis viewing is, it doesn't fall off at all when you go off-axis, so it just stays very nice and strong and bold looking. So there's many good things to be said about the Samsung DROID Charge. This is Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly. Thanks for watching.